a Democratic county, and that Bobby Schilling would lose to Phil Bear. And I told some people from Bobby's office, including Terry Schilling, came up for the first meeting in the basement here, and I said, well, we'll see about that. And an incredible thing happened thanks to all of you. 21 out of 24 precincts in Mercer County went for Bobby Schilling. 'We won Mercer County by almost 1,000 votes. 6 of those precincts went for Bobby Schilling with over 60% of the vote. 10 more of the precincts went for Bobby Schilling with over 50% of the vote. And along the way, there's some people that I need to thank. I would like anyone in the room who was a Republican election judge and was at the precincts that day working to please stand up. We couldn't have done it without your help. Anyone in the room who is a precinct committee man or woman for the 24 precincts of Mercer County to please stand up if you're here tonight. Thank you. And again, we were there for Bobby Schilling in 2010. We'll be there for you in 2012. And at this time,
this is quite an honor for me. I've gotten to know Bobby over the last year and a half, and there isn't a whole lot of people that impress me. And he's done it overwhelmingly. And I think he's done that with most of the people in this room. We all know Bobby is the United States Congressman of the 17th District. Yeah. First Republican to hold this seat since 1982. Bobby sits on the House Armed Services Committee and the Agricultural Committee. He also serves the Terrorism, Unconventional Threat, and Capability Subcommittee and the Readiness Subcommittee. Bobby was born and raised in Rock Island, Illinois. He and his family opened St. Giuseppe's Heavenly Pizza in Moline. As a small business owner, Bobby understands saving and sacrificing are the road to prosperity. Staying true to his roots, Schilling chose to keep his personal health care plan and not accept the federal health insurance. Prior to opening the pizzeria, Bobby worked as a machine operator and was a member of the United Paper Workers Union, Local 191. Bobby Schilling has been married to his wonderful wife, Christy, for 24 years, and together they have 10 children. It is my absolute pleasure and a great honor to present Bobby Schilling.
What an honor. First, I just want to sincerely thank everyone in this room because I know so many of you all worked very, very hard and tirelessly to get me elected. Now, a year from now, I might come out and say, what the heck have you folks gotten me into? But as for now, we have a lot of work to do. You know, one of the things I wanted to just kind of touch on a little bit, people always ask how the family restaurant's doing. And if you take a look here in the bottom, I'd like to show you 3 of the guys that are actually running it. 2 guys over at the top standing up next to my son Terry is Aaron. Aaron's running the store. Last night, Aaron fired Levi, who's right next to him, and also Joseph. This morning he informed me that what he did was he decided he's going to get rid of one of the waitresses. I'm like, wait a minute, who's running the show? What's going on? So it's a constant battle. It actually reminds me a lot of when my little brother Billy and I were kids. We were constantly at each other. So what I want to do is I want to first I know the veterans have been recognized, but what I'd also like to do is talk a little bit. 2 weeks ago today, I was over in Afghanistan, and it's amazing what's happening there. A year and a half ago, when our men and women would land in a town called Mercer, what would happen is they would constantly be fired upon. Last week when we landed there, myself and 4 other members of Congress were able to get out of our helicopter and just walk in through this small village. A year ago, it was 10 of our folks to 1 of the Afghani soldiers. Today, it's 1 to 1. Our men and women are doing a phenomenal job. I've got to tell you a story. Walking down the street, this little guy must have been about 3 or 4 years old. He looks up at me and he says, "What's up?" And I looked at him and I said, "Excuse me?" He says, "What's up?" And then the kid to my left says, "Can I have $1?" And I thought I was at home. But to the parents, what I'd like to do right now, and I don't care if you're young or old, any of the parents who have any military children, if you could please stand. God bless you all. You know, I've got to tell a story, and I don't know where it came from, but something in my heart told me today when I was having lunch with several of the soldiers is to get the name of their parents and their phone numbers. And as I went through the course of the day, I did that because these are such high-class people. I was so proud of what they're doing over there. Anyway, I got home at 11 o'clock that night, and the next morning what I did is when I came into the office, I picked up that phone and I called each and every one of those parents and told them how darn proud they should be of them and how proud we were. And it was just the best feeling in the world. And sometimes when I get the moms on the phone, I have to say, okay, please stop crying because you're going to make me cry. And I get doing that in front of everybody in the office. But what an honor and what a great nation we live in. And thank God for our veterans because we enjoy the freedom today to stand here and assemble. You folks are awesome. And to have a guy like Bill Albrecht stand up and say, you know what, I'm going to take my leadership skills that I've learned throughout my entire lifetime to rise up to the occasion. Thank you, Bill, for stepping into the arena. And to my friend Maureen, it's been a long 2 days, hasn't it, Maureen? I can tell you this right now, darling, because I got to know Rich Myers over the last 2.5 years. Right now, he's looking down from above, and he's really praising you for what you're doing. And what an awesome fit to have somebody like you step in to fill the shoes of Rich Myers. What I want to do now is I just want to kind of, on the way out here, what I was doing is I was typing my speech, okay? I'm a winger. I've always been that way, and some people will say, hey, Bobby, don't ever change the way you do things. But what I want to do is just read to you a few things here that are pretty important to us. And what I want you to do is, as I'm reading this, I just want you to reflect to the words that I'm going to be reading to you. America is more than a country. America is an idea that free people can govern themselves. The government's powers are derived from the consent of the government. That each of us is endowed by their Creator with the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. America is the belief that any man or woman can, given economic, political, and religious liberty, advance themselves, their families, and the common good. America is an inspiration to those who yearn to be free and have the ability and the dignity to determine their own destiny. Whenever the agenda of the government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to institute a new governing agenda and set a different course. Hence, November the 2nd, 2010. These first principles were proclaimed in the Declaration of Independence enshrined in the Constitution, and have endured through hard sacrifice and commitment by generations of America. And I'm talking specifically about our soldiers. Thank you, soldiers. In a self-governing society, the only bulwark against the power of the state is the consent of the governed. And regarding the policies of the current government, the governed do not consent. An unchecked executive, a compliant legislator, and an overreaching judiciary have combined to thwart the will of the American people and overturn their votes and their values, striking down long-standing laws and institutions and scorning the deepest beliefs of the American people. An arrogant and out-of-touch government of self-appointed elites make decisions, issues mandates, and enacts laws without accepting or requesting the input of many. Rising joblessness, crushing debt, and polarizing political environment are fraying the bonds among our people and are blurring the sense of our national purpose. Like free peoples of the past, our citizens refuse to accommodate a government that believes it can replace the will of the people with its own. The American people are speaking out and demanding that we realign our country's compass with its founding principles and apply those principles to solve our common problems for the common good of all of us. The need for urgent action to repair our economy, reclaim our government for the people cannot be overstated. We're in some pretty serious times right now. We've heard it said a few times tonight, is that we think this thing's over with just because we took back the House. We're completely wrong. And I think it's really important that all of us here continue to be engaged and totally understand this process of what's going on. You know, for far too long we've allowed this to happen and we've really never, done anything about it. We just kind of sat back and we took it. And, I have a lot of people that say, Bobby, why did you vote for this? Why did you vote for that? And first I want to say to each and every one of you is that I didn't go into this job for a career. I did this for the love of country. I did this for my family, and I did it for your family also because I felt that we were not getting the proper representation of the 17th district since I was a high school senior, 1982. What we have to do, though, is right now we're shooting arrows at people that are actually trying to help things out. And we need to understand the big picture because some people want things fixed today. We've got to keep in mind that the mess happened all at once. It's taken years to have happen. But what we have to remember is that there's a process. It's kind of like when we play chess. You don't pick the pawn up and knock the king out on the first move. And what I'm unwilling to do, and I want to be very clear with each and every person in here, is I'm unwilling to go to the crazy side, excuse the way I speak here, and do things similar to 1994, where Barack Obama and the Senate continues just the way they are. This is a golden opportunity that we have to get our country back on track. If we fail, which we cannot afford to do, the Democrats will hold the Senate, they'll get a lot of seats back in the Congress, and President Obama will be president for another 4 years after this next election. And America cannot afford to have that happen. Amen? Amen. When we look at everything that's been shoved through against the will of the American people, it's a problem. If President Obama gets reelected, Obamacare is going to happen. There's not going to be anything we can do. So what we need to do is when we talk to our legislators and our lawmakers, we need to shoot them ideas and kind of push things out there because we don't know everything. And what we do is we take your voice to Washington, D.C. The thing that is really the most frustrating to me sitting in the U.S. Congress is to have people come to me and shoot arrows at me after I've made a vote when they knew the vote was coming rather than explaining where I should be or where they thought or giving me a different idea. what's happening is there's a divide that's being created in the Republican Party right now. And it's not that big of a divide. I think in the next 3 weeks, what we're going to see, the real deal is going to happen in 3 weeks. You know, some people forget, and I brought some of the things that we've done here, some of the votes that we've done. We've actually, in the last 2 months, we've eliminated more debt than what they've done in the last 4 years. And please keep in mind that what we're doing today, a lot of us freshman members in Washington, D.C., is because the last Congress was unwilling to set a budget, we're having to deal with last year's budget. And what happened by these folks doing this, by putting this, just letting this budget slide, they kept the checkbook open. And it's amazing what they were spending our kids and our grandkids' tax dollars on. I mean, I could just make everybody cringe right now if I went through the list. But what we have to do is we have to work together. And we have to understand the whole picture, not just little pieces of it. You know, we were having a little bit of discussion earlier today. I'm as pro-life as it gets, man. I've got 10 kids. You know, but what we can't afford to do as a party is we can't afford to go out there and pick off fights that we know aren't going to make it through the Senate and they aren't going to make it through the presidency. Because what we do is we just tick off some of the people on our side, we lose our independent vote, and what we do is we set up the next Senate, which would be run by Democrats, and we set up the presidency for Barack Obama. So what I would ask each and every one of us to do is, before you go shooting darts, make a phone call and say, hey, where are you at on this? You know, and just kind of make sure you got the full picture in before you go beating us up. Because I'm here to serve the people. I mean, and if whatever the people want, that's what I'm going to do. But you know, just some of the votes that we've done here, just in the last 90 days. One of the best votes that I had, when we go in to vote, we get the you can vote yes or no, or you can vote hell yes or hell no. These are some of the heck no's. We voted to eliminate President Obama's czars. I mean, we've got so many czars. We've got, cow czars. I mean, it's everything across the board. We've been a lot of times what we're hearing is the folks are talking about how the Republican Party isn't creating jobs. Well, let me be very clear. The government is not designed to create jobs for the private sector. The government is set up to create an atmosphere to where businesses want to explain something the Democrats have lost out on for quite some time over the past few years. We are unfunding the EPA at alarming rates, as they would call it. One of the things, I was in a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we had the head of the EPA there, and the Democrats and Republicans both were beating up on this gal, and I started to feel sorry for her, and then I remembered, oh, she's with the EPA. We voted to repeal the 1099 provision so that our employers, kind of like General Machine and Grind out here, every time they spend over $600 with somebody, they don't have to send a 1099 form in. Several just pork projects. One of the other pork projects that we eliminated was out in California. The Congresswoman's name was, Nancy Pelosi. That was another one of those heck yes votes. But, something that we've got to fully understand is that the debt that our country has right now is amazing. I've got a chart. It's not going to be kind of hard to see, but this shows 1970. 5% of our debt was held by it was foreign holdings. This is 1990. We had roughly 19% of our debt was held by foreign holdings. This is 2010. 51% of our debt is held by foreign holdings. I'm here to tell you the debt of the United States is a huge threat to the security of the United States of America, and we have to eliminate it. there's been cuts that we've had to vote on that, you know, if I had the money, I'd try to take care of it, but we have a $14 trillion national debt. We're spending $1.6 trillion more than we're bringing in. The president wants to freeze everything after he did all these big increases, and I've got another really cool chart here that shows, these charts are awesome by the way. These are by Paul Ryan put these together for me. This is if we go along with the president's plan of freezing the spending where it's at. This is 2010 right here. Here's what happens with our debt. It declines basically 800% in about a 70-year time. These are 10-year increments here. This is serious stuff we've got going on. And, you know, the thing is that I hear when I'm out on the trail is, man, we've got to cut this stuff, Bobby, but don't cut my stuff. Well, you know, just bear with us as we come in and cut, and it's got to be appropriate cutting, you know, fine-tooth comb and coming out and doing the right thing. But what I wanted to kind of just touch base on is just a few of the pledges that we made in this Congress. We pledged to uphold the Constitution and defend the United States of America from enemies, foreign and domestic. And, you know, I'm one of those guys that I love my country so much, I will die for her. I'm unwilling to go in and allow people to take us over from within, whether they know it or not, what they're doing to the country. Another thing I like seeing is folks coming in to have some business background. And what I'm going to do is just to call out right now is to each and every one of you, what we have to do is we have to engage the process all the way from the top, all the way down. So if there's anybody here, if you have an inkling about running for an office, you need to talk to some people. You know, you got Mike Burleson here, who was very instrumental in kind of helping me out quite a bit. But your country, the United States of America, right now, today,